What is going on, party people? Captain Zeus here, and I'm here to give my review and thoughts over the first two episodes of the Star Wars animated series Maul Shadow Lord. Now, spoiler warning for those of you that have not seen it, because I will be going into some details about it. And if you like reviews like this, please like and subscribe for more, and let me know in the comments below your thoughts on these first two episodes. Now, honestly, I just gotta say, wow. The animation is so damn good. Like, it is so freaking good. I don't know how Filoni and crew seem to step up their game each time, but they step up their game each time. The animation and art quality is something that stands out throughout all of this, because if I recall correctly, they used like oil paintings on the backgrounds of stuff and used that in mixture with their modern animation. Like, they fused the old and modern styles together for the show, and it shows, because man, does it just pop, man. It is beautiful. I was always a big hater of 3D animated series, whether it was an actual anime or just in general, but man, the Clone Wars style animation is just so good. The fight scenes are fluid. The lightsaber coloring was dope from Maul, and you could even see the jaggedness of like on the outside of his saber. Like, there's so much attention to details, and then just the backdrop of the underworld is just so colorful. It just pops. I love it. And then the soundtrack, oh my gosh, the soundtrack, so good, so good. I was like, bro, did they watch Dune before making the soundtrack? You could tell there was some Hans Zimmer horn inspiration in there, and I love it. It just gave it such a grittier and darker feel to what we're kind of used to with Star Wars installments. A lot more lighthearted, you know, kind of a soundtrack, but I loved it for this one. Now, I mean, those are the two non-story related things I gotta comment on, and they're pretty much the big hitters, and it's great. But let's get down to the nitty-gritty. So the first episode really comes down to what happened with Maul after season 7 of Clone Wars. It looks like he's recruited his Zabrak homeboys as well as his Death Watch faction. They've kind of, I guess the Death Watch they're still serving him pretty honorably, and his goal is basically what any villain's goal is: revenge. So it's really what it is. He's just getting revenge on the people that betrayed him in, I believe it was season 7. That's when it happened, of Clone Wars. Or was it season 5? One of the seasons, whenever he got betrayed. And in the process of doing so, it definitely looks like he is having visions, which I didn't think Sith could, but I suppose it depends on how far into the dark side you are. Like, Maul is 100% like a villain, like 100% a bad guy. At the same time, he's definitely absorbed a lot of the Jedi philosophies into himself to evolve not only himself, but also his Force sensitivity. At least that's just what I could see. And I do love that, because we kind of seen that a little bit in the Ahsoka series with Bail and Skull, where they are essentially dark Jedis. Like, they're not Sith, not 100%, but former Jedis who are leaning into the dark side, but definitely utilizing a lot more of the Jedi practices. And it's like, dude, I know Grey Jedis is like a fan favorite thing that they want to see, but it's kind of like that, where you're getting that blend of both sides of the spectrum to make yourself more powerful, which at the end of the day, you can't have light without dark, and vice versa. It's kind of like a big theme within Star Wars. So it is nice to see Maul go down this path, and it definitely makes sense as to how he becomes the wise old dark master in Rebels. But I'm definitely curious as to how he got to that point in Rebels, where he's just essentially just chilling in the tomb, into that Sith tomb. Is it a tomb? Temple? Wherever that Sith holocron was. And I'm hoping that this show does go into that. I do hope there's time jumps between seasons, just because I don't want it to be all condensed in that first year of the Empire. I would like it to be throughout the Imperial reign. I think that would be cool. But regardless, we see a wiser Maul coming into his form, and we also are introduced to who I can only assume is going to be Darth Talon, which is going to be dope. A Jedi apprentice, or a former Jedi apprentice, it seems, who gets captured by Maul after he goes and takes, after he captures one of the other crime bosses that had betrayed him. And it's like he's slowly corrupting her. I don't even know if corrupting is the right word here, because it's not entirely wrong. What he's doing with her is essentially trying to break those shackles of, as he said, years of indoctrination. Because, you know, a lot of the Jedis, they were taken from birth and raised in the Jedi way, and they're basically in that narrow view of the Jedi code. And so it's definitely interesting where he's like, he's not saying what the Jedi believed in are wrong. He even admits, he's like, hey, if more Jedi believed in the core principles like you, the Sith, the Empire would not be where it is today. I wish we had more people like you, is what he said. And I'm like, that's a very interesting point to take. Like, does he believe the Jedi should exist, or that there should only be the true Jedi like Ahsoka, like Yoda, like Luke, I think. And so he's basically kind of using his method of blending the two sides together, trying to start to do that with Talon. I don't know if we've been introduced to her name yet. I don't recall them saying her name. But then in episode 2, it's kind of just, it's almost like a filler. Like, you honestly could have just had episode 1 be the mixture of the 2 episodes together, and I think that would have been better. I see why they had it as a 2-episode premiere, because in episode 2, not a whole lot happened, because he's basically just slowly trying to push Talon to do something, to break out of the cell. He does his revenge on the Pike guy by having one of the dopest hallway scenes ever. Like, I was like, bro, Rogue One hallway scenes, but for Maul, hell yeah, I'm all for it. We got to see that here in episode 2. Other than that, we get some more info regarding the police captain, who we've already been introduced to in episode 1, and he was just kind of just like another character that, you know, a lot of stuff is going around with, because, you know, cops, crime syndicate, you know how it'd be. And so in this episode, it definitely focused a little bit more on him, as, you know, we see his family life isn't that great. You know, work has really strained his relationship with his family, like his son, and he's even got a little boo thing on the side who gives him some information and some other thing, you know what I'm saying? I can't blame him though. But I do like that we're getting all of these different perspectives of characters here, and it's being blended very well. It doesn't even seem overstimulating for 30-minute episodes, and we've only seen the first 2 so far. So I love the pacing of it. I love how they're delving into the characters, and although this is a Maul show, it's not like it's 100% focus on him and everyone else gets like 3 seconds of fame. Like, it's definitely almost a very good balance, if you will, with the characters and their stories. I do think it's interesting how the police captain and crew are trying very hard to not get the Empire involved. I think in the next episode, it's got to be the next episode, the Empire is going to get notified, and that's where we're going to see the Inquisitors come into play. One person I forgot to mention was Talon's Jedi Master, who's kind of just been a presence throughout both episodes. He seems to be one of the Jedi Masters who very much could have been the reason why the Jedi fell. Very much standoffish, kind of just, you know, what I wouldn't even say like a whatever. Like, he definitely just seems like the kind of Jedi Master who's been there for a long time and is part of the old way of thinking, so to speak. And he's kind of doing that with Talon. Like, she's over here starving in the first episode, and he tells her, no, don't steal, which, I mean, stealing's bad. He's like, but we'll get food from the grace and the benevolence of the regular common folk. And then as soon as he says that, he goes and asks for food, and they shut him down instantly. Like, no, get the frick out of here. I'm like, bro, that is just embarrassing, my man. Like, you can't over here be a beggar and act like you're above people that steal. Like, you got to do something to get your bread. So I do think that his philosophy is going to be what pushes Talon towards Maul more, like his way of thinking, which I'm not saying is completely wrong. It's just outdated, and it clearly didn't work because his way was the old Jedi way, and that's why the Jedi fell. And so in the second episode, we kind of just see him tailing the captain and just kind of just around the place, which was kind of weird, but I guess he's also trying to figure out where his apprentice is. He did have a cool moment when Maul got the crime boss out of prison when they were down the highway. I believe it was in the second episode. He stopped the carrier that Maul was in, the transport carrier that had his apprentice and the crime boss, and he has this stare down with Maul, and it's like kind of dope because not a single word is said, not a single motion is done between the two, but Maul just secretly just tears down this bridge, and as it's about to fall, the Jedi Master's like, oh, frick you, and he turns around and goes to save the bridge, and Maul's like, shh, that's what I thought, and then he escapes. Meanwhile, Jedi Master's doing his best to hold up that freaking bridge where everybody was on, and the captain comes on, he's like, hey, you okay? And I'm like, what do you mean, are you okay? You don't notice that he's using the Force right now? Really? That also goes to show that the underworld really doesn't recognize or really is in tune with the Jedi as much. In episode 1, when the captain saw Maul with a holo recorder, he's like, oh my gosh, he's got a laser sword. There's a name for those guys. But anyways, I would say all in all, I really enjoyed these first 2 episodes. Episode 1 definitely hit with a bang. Episode 2 was a little bit deflating, a little bit, not by a lot, but it still kept that momentum going. If I had to rate the 2 episodes together, I would probably give this a 9 out of 10. Fantastic debuting, and it really has me interested as to how this series is going to progress, since he's going to be trying to corrupt Talon, for a lack of a better term, as well as get his revenge on the Empire, which it also has me curious because how is that going to take place? Because the next time we see Maul after this show would be in Rebels, where he's in the temple. So what happens between there is where my big question is, and I hope he does get some semblance of revenge, but at the same time, I'm positive he won't. And also, it makes me question what's going to happen with Talon. I hope she doesn't just die off in this series. I hope she lives and continues on, something we could see in the movies later on, like even in the New Republic era. I think that would be dope. But that is it for me, guys. What did you guys think about the first 2 episodes of Maul Shadow Lord? Let me know in the comments below. I'm Captain Zeus. I will see you guys in the next one. Don't forget to like and subscribe and have a fantastic day. Bye.